What is a movie you find terrible but critics seem to love? Girl on the Third Floor. I don't understand how this giant piece of shit has 81% on Rotten Tomatoes. Waterworld. 1995. Oh wait. Other way around. SpongeBob. Sponge out of water. Fucking 81% RT score with a 54% audience score. If you want a SpongeBob movie, watch the original 2005 movie. Infinitely better. Argo. Not because it was necessarily a badly made movie, but because it willfully rewrote real-world history to make America look like the sole heroes. The British and New Zealand embassies did not turn the American embassy workers away. The British embassy took them in. At great risk, mind you. But transferred them to the Canadian embassy since they could more easily pass for Canadians, and the British embassy was in a dangerous location already. The New Zealand embassy took similar risks. The actual Americans who were rescued made extensive comments at the time stating displeasure over how the actual situation was depicted. Since it was, well, bullshit. And don't get me started on U-571, at least that movie was the box office bomb it deserved to be. Since it straight up replaced the British Navy who recovered the Enigma machine with the US Navy, they got so much heat over it that they just lazily shoved a disclaimer at the end saying pretty much, actually it was the British Navy who captured the machine, but oh well. To save face. The bloody US wasn't even in the war when the events depicted happened. There's some sad person out there who's gonna use this as a movie recommendation thread. Shakespeare in Love. Not me but my dad. He absolutely hates Snowpiercer, but it's got fantastic ratings and a great director. Even after rewatching he still just doesn't get into it. I'll admit the first time I watched it with him I wasn't huge on it either, but I've rewatched it many times and it's one of my favorite films now. Edit. Holy shit, this blew up. I'm glad I'm not crazy for not knowing what exactly to make of the movie. If you hated the movie on your first watch, I recommend rewatching because it seems lots of people changed their minds after it. Crash. The Best Picture Oscar winner. For those asking. ITT. People conflating movies that are popular with movies critics love. Crash. Like. I challenge you to write a more pandering movie, but impossible character arcs and junior high-level storytelling is apparently Oscar-worthy if you spend enough money on bankable actors. Edit. Yes. Critics generally like this movie. A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood. In my opinion, I feel Tom Hanks didn't accurately portray Fred Rogers at all. Rogers was in no way as eccentric as the persona portrayed by Hanks in the film, but was his own breed of human. The Rogers character portrayed by Hanks, especially with the portrayal of violence in a scene of the film set during a live broadcast of Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, was in no way the real Mr. Rogers. The documentary Won't You Be My Neighbor was a far better insight into the life of Rogers. Monsters Ball was horrible but somehow won awards. The Lion King remake. The CGI is absolutely gorgeous. I can't deny that. But going to hyper-realistic lions made the movie lose all of the charm the original had. There's a complete disconnect between the emotions the voice actors were going for and what the lions were showing due to the fact that real cats, lions don't have a wide range of facial expressions to portray human emotions with. Other changes were meh. Some were good, like fixing some plot holes. But for the most part the changes were bad. Removal of songs. Toned down the magic. Beyoncé butchering music. Toy Story 4. When it was first announced I thought it was an unnecessary movie. After watching the trailers I still thought it was unnecessary, and after watching the movie I realized I was correct. And this led me to hate the movie because the trilogy had a perfect ending. By the way, How to Train Your Dragon 3 should have won the Oscar in Toy Story place. Peas. Sorry about my English if I made any mistakes. It is not my language. Ralph Breaks the Internet. A disappointing sequel. American Hustle. One of the most boring movies I have ever watched. Bird Box. A Quiet Place is somehow a better movie even though they're almost exactly the same. As a person who has struggled with addiction, I find Requiem for a Dream to be a monstrosity of over-sensationalized fantasy. It doesn't tell the story of an addict. It tells a story, seemingly concocted by a dare officer who has never even thought to consider the actual emotions involved in addiction. By contrast, I find the film Trainspotting to be a much more grounded and honest look at the life and struggle of an addict. This is all based on my own personal experience. Of course. Ender's Game. Sure, it works fine as a standalone movie. But as a huge fan of the book, I found it butchered the storyline, and although I was so excited to see the movie, seeing them replace a lie with Bean, ignoring the significance of the Dragon Army, and forget entirely about Ender's brother and sister was too much to let me enjoy the movie. God, I hate that movie so much. Man, Lincoln was so fucking boring. My fav president. So I thought, this will be cool. I was wrong. And Lincoln Vampire Hunter ruled though. Shawshank Redemption. Nah, I'm kidding. That movie is amazing. The Greatest Showman, like it's about an awful person but they make him seem like a good guy, plus the script and songs and everything about it was just mediocre, so when I watched it after all the praise it got I was just disappointed. Toy Story 4. It breaks so many rules and is such an insult to the characters. The villain and her minions are really interesting, but lacks the threat of characters like Sid and the evil of Lotso. I guess that could be the point though. Kinda sad they didn't do more with her and her minions. Plus, Ducky and Bunny are more unfunny than minions. A Star is Born. I just don't get the hype. Almost no conflict in her rise to stardom, and the ending seems so predictable the closer I came to it that I had a hard time even finishing it. It was just boring. Backdoor Sluts 9. I genuinely think that the movie Gravity with Sandra Bullock and George Clooney is one of the worst movies that has ever hit the big screen. Happy Feet. What in the actual F? Ralph Breaks the Internet. The English Patient. American Sniper, aka. This man murdered civilians but he feels bad about it so it's okay. US Army Good. Shape of Water. Honestly might have been a good movie to address the way humans treat creatures. But they fucked it up by having them fall in love. Like what the actual fuck? People mentioning a bunch of popular 2000s and 2010s movies make me worried about my opinion. A Clockwork Orange. I've read the book and watched the movie. I hated both. A Star is Born is so cringy. I can't understand why people raved about it. Just because they had good chemistry? I mean, yeah they did, but that's probably cause they either wanted to or were sleeping with each other. Big Whoop. The storyline was absolute garbage. So cheesy. Weak and stereotypical. Can't believe two talented stars wasted their time on this and then got rave reviews and awards. *edit. I meant the 2018 film. Also. Till there were other movies by the same title. Haha. I feel young all of a sudden. American Sniper is the only movie I've ever considered leaving the cinema during. Went to see it because it got so much praise. Guess me being European makes it a bit less impactful or something. Us. I really enjoyed Get Out. So I was really excited for this movie. And it just fell completely flat for me. The live-action Lion King. Pretty much every movie by Woody Allen. Ad Astra. The Moon Pirates. The Girl from Mars Who's Never Been to Earth. The way they managed to make a desperate fall to Earth with a torn parachute boring. Fuck Brad Pitt and his I'm bored falling from space to Earth with a broken parachute. I wanna know why and how there are moon pirates. Also Drag Me to Hell. Psychological thriller my ass. It's jump scares galore and a woman who could have been rid of her problems. I don't care how much empathy you have for someone with mean parents. He kept screwing you over and you were literally going to be sent to hell. Survival instinct beats empathy for someone who was actively antagonizing you hours before. Sorry. Bohemian Rhapsody. I love Queen but this movie sucks. Rocketman was fucking amazing.